Today I'm going to demonstrate how to put a splint on a fracture when the victim has a fracture on her leg or her arm. But the first thing you need to do is to put the victim on a slightly high position. Put their head up and also the shoulders. Now, if the injury happened on the arm, you can put anything that is straight, like a piece of wood, on the arm. If you're out in the woods and there's nothing else you can use, just use a piece of a limb of a tree, anything that is straight, and try to make that to stay stable by wrapping something around it. It's preferable a bandage, but if you don't have a bandage, another thing that you can do is to use a towel or a t-shirt, just fold it up and wrap it around. The main thing is that we want to make sure that this arm is going to stay still so that fracture don't produce any more injuries like hurting a muscle or nerves or a blood vessel, especially if the fracture and if there's a broken bone that's sticking out. We don't want that to hurt the person more, so keep it straight like that with the splint in it. So if the fracture happens on the leg, you will do pretty much the same thing. You wrap a piece of wood or anything that you have close by. Even a spoon will help, as long as it's something straight. Of course, not a spoon and a person, but you can use anything you have handy to wrap around the leg and keep it stabilized. So you do not move the person unless you had already done the splint, because when you move them, if you don't have the splint, then you can cause more injury to the victim. Another thing is that if the fracture happens on the pelvis or the spine, you also need to find a bigger board to put it on the person, because it's a bigger area that you're going to need to stabilize. You try to find something like this, and then the same thing, just make sure the person is comfortable and put something around that splint to keep the person from moving. You will want to do this first thing as soon as you see that the person has a fracture, and then keep them comfortable until EMS personnel arrives to give them professional attention. 3 things that you need to do when you are out in the wild is that you need to first find shelter, make sure the person is safe, then you make a fire, and then you look for water. And the last thing you need to do is to look for food. The water, when you boil it, it helps to kill some bacteria. Maybe it's not going to kill any pesticides or any other minerals or pathogens, but at least you're going to have clean water to maybe rinse the injury a little bit or something. But you need to remember those 3 things you need to do first: shelter, fire and water, and then food. And that's it. Thank you.